What's up, Chiefs Kingdom? Noah Gray here, tight end for the Kansas City Chiefs. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe to Josh's channel and check out showmefootball.com for more.
What is up, Chiefs Kingdom? Welcome back to another video on my channel. My name is Josh Fan of showmefootball.com, covering your Kansas City Chiefs. And the Chiefs just got a double dose of significant news ahead of the NFL's trade deadline. We'll talk about what that is right after this. Ladies and gentlemen of the Chiefs Kingdom, welcome back into another video here on the Show Me Football YouTube channel. Before we get into the news, I do want to kindly ask you all to please like, share, and subscribe so more Chiefs fans can find this, and make sure you go ahead and hit that notification bell for future Chiefs content on this channel. But without further ado, let's get into the news, guys. There's been a lot of developments over the last 24 hours or so since the Kansas City Chiefs kicked off against the Washington Commanders on Monday Night Football. Obviously, they were able to grab the win. Really nice statement win over the Commanders before you head to Buffalo. That's going to be a tough matchup, but a lot of us are still discussing what the Kansas City Chiefs need to do at the NFL trade deadline in order to help this team out. And we got some news today that I think implicates some trade deadline approach for the Kansas City Chiefs. The first bit of news, and this just came out before I decided to hop on and record, definitely why I wanted to get on here with you guys, but Ari Meyerov of My Sports Update is reporting that the Cincinnati Bengals have released veteran defensive tackle Mike Pennel. This is really big news, and I hardly need to explain why. Mike Pennel is obviously the former Kansas City Chiefs defensive tackle. He was on this team throughout preseason and training camp. The Chiefs brought him back on a one-year deal in the offseason. He's been a stalwart in the Chiefs defensive tackle rotation for the previous few seasons. And he was slated to be the starting nose tackle next to Chris Jones until all of a sudden the Kansas City Chiefs cut him from their final 53-man roster, inexplicably got rid of him and decided to go with Derek Nottie instead, who they gave up a draft asset for to acquire from the New York Jets, when the New York Jets were going to cut Derek Nottie anyway. And Derek Nottie, who is a worse player than Mike Pennel and has been a worse player, and in fact is rated as the worst defensive tackle in the NFL, that made no sense. And it still makes no sense now. But with Mike Pennel now getting released and the Chiefs still having a massive need on the defensive line, especially because of the Omar Norman Lott injury. He obviously tore his ACL against the Raiders. He's out for the rest of the season. The Chiefs are thin at defensive tackle. We now have a guy that is available, that knows the Chiefs system, that has found success in this system before, and would cost almost nothing to bring in and fill one of your needs without even giving up another draft asset. We've been talking about how the Chiefs are targeting a lot of defensive linemen at the trade deadline. That's what they need. But if you can go out and fill one of those holes with a guy who you know what he provides, you know he's an upgrade over at least one of your guys that you already have, and he costs nothing, it is a no-brainer. The Kansas City Chiefs absolutely have to right this wrong. Bring back Mike Pennel. Get him in this lineup. Get him playing over Derek Nottie. Like, honestly, guys, I don't know what the odds are. If there's any odds on Mike Pennell's next team, I would bet the house that Mike Pennel will be back on this team and practicing before the end of the week. He may even play against the Buffalo Bills. I think you can lock that in. But no, seriously, it makes all the sense in the world for the Kansas City Chiefs to go and get Mike Pennel back because he's very solid. He gives you better run defense than what the Chiefs have put on at times this year. I think he gives you a better matchup at some of those matchups, you know, in the regular season where teams are going to be more run heavy. Mike Pennel, he can help with that. He started off the season as one of the better run stopping defensive tackles in the NFL. Again, an upgrade over Derek Nottie. Derek Nottie was getting pushed back 5 to 10 yards on every single play against the Detroit Lions a couple years ago in their rushing attack. So Mike Pennel, I think if you get him in here in the aggregate, he really helps out the defensive tackle room. But my opinion is that the Chiefs shouldn't stop at Mike Pennel either. I think they should still go and find someone else to help out this defensive line at the trade deadline. But this addition would make a lot of sense because you don't have to give up much for it. We know the Chiefs don't have a ton of cap space. They don't want to give up a ton of draft capital. Go and fill a massive hole in your roster with someone that doesn't cost hardly anything, and we know what he can give you. So, yeah, at this point, I'm just repeating myself. This one's pretty obvious. The Chiefs should go out and get Mike Pennel. ASAP. Now, we did get another piece of news about the Kansas City Chiefs running back room, and maybe that changes their approach there at the trade deadline, along with this Mike Pennel news. We'll talk about that in a minute, but before we do that, I do want to show you all a message from our partners on this channel, so let's go ahead and check that out. Injured in an accident? Hurt in a car wreck? Call Mike. At DM Law, every wrong must be made right. With over 50 years of combined legal experience and offices in Missouri, Kansas, Oklahoma, and Colorado, as well as millions of dollars recovered for their clients, DM Law has the in-depth knowledge and experience to take your personal injury case all the way through to trial. They also offer free consultations and work on a contingency fee basis, which means you don't pay unless they win your case. DM Law also offers a large support staff of investigators, case managers, medical record specialists, and more. When you choose their dedicated legal team, you can focus on recovery while they handle your case. When it comes to personal injury, they believe that every right deserves a fight. That's why they make it their mission to help their clients receive the compensation and justice they deserve. Remember, Mike's got this. The choice of a lawyer is an important one and should not be based solely on advertisements. There you guys have it. If you feel like you need compensation for whatever it is you've been through, definitely head over to DM Law. See if they can help you out. Link is in the description for that. Thanks to our partners on this channel. They're going to be around here all season long. Back to the video topic. We got some news on Kansas City Chiefs running back Isaiah Pacheco. If you guys missed it, he got hit late against the Washington Commanders. Awkward hit on the knee. He had to come out. Well, Tom Pelissero of NFL Network is reporting that Chiefs running back Isaiah Pacheco, who left Monday night's win with a knee injury, is considered week to week with an MCL sprain, per sources. Now, I found this pretty significant as far as the trade deadline goes, because running back has also been a position where we've heard some buzz that the Chiefs might be checking around. Running back is a position where the Chiefs have been weak now for a couple of years, mostly because of the inefficiency of Isaiah Pacheco. And he's looked better over the last few weeks, but I think we were reminded last night that, he's been popping up with injuries here and there a lot over the past few seasons. He seems like a guarantee now that he's always going to miss at least a couple games. That's just how it's been now for the last few years of Isaiah Pacheco, and that's just how it is with his running style. He's not super durable, and that's no knock on Isaiah Pacheco. That's just the nature of the game. That's the nature of the position, the way he plays the game. So does this injury now change the Chiefs' thinking a little bit? And maybe they say, okay, well, if Isaiah Pacheco, if this injury was worse, then we would really be screwed at that position. I know Brashard Smith has showed a little bit, but the Chiefs don't really give him a ton of carries still. It's more gadget stuff. And then there's Kareem Hunt, but he's too old to be given 20 carries a game all by himself. So do the Chiefs maybe rethink the situation now with the injury scare and say, hey, we need to go out and get someone that provides some explosive runs for us? And is that more likely now? With this Mike Pennel release, you could see a chain reaction, I think, where the Chiefs fill one of their needs on the defensive line by going and getting Mike Pennel. Now you don't need to trade for a defensive tackle necessarily. So maybe you can use a trade asset for a running back instead, because like I said, you would fill that need on the defensive line. That's why the Mike Pennel release, in my opinion, is such huge news, because this could really benefit the Chiefs in a lot of ways heading towards the trade deadline. But then the Isaiah Pacheco news, I think, makes things a little bit more interesting, because we heard some reports last week that maybe the Chiefs are backing off the running back need. They just need defensive line more. They're not going to get around to that, but maybe this changes things. Who knows? That's just my theory that I'm putting out there, but I definitely want to get your guys' thoughts on that, what you think the Kansas City Chiefs will do at the trade deadline now. If today's news changes your thinking at all, definitely let me know in the comments down below. But with all that being said, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this episode up. So all that being said, make sure you like, share, and subscribe so more Chiefs fans can find this. Make sure you check out my work on showmefootball.com. Follow the Twitter at showmefb. That's all I got for this one. I'll see you all in the next one. And as always, go Chiefs.